Good morning and welcome to Geek Theory. This is a new show here on YouTube with us. I'm James.
I'm Nick.
And we're going to be talking about geeky topics, including movies, TV, comic books, video games, and a little bit of politics. Well, I say a little bit of politics, but I mean a lot of politics, because the election is happening right now, and, well, the lead up to the election at least, and so we're going to be talking about that a lot.
For those of you who used to listen to our podcast, we're really sorry we've been away for so long. We've been having some,
We've been trying
troubles.
to do this.
Yeah.
And it's been taking forever.
It takes a lot more to do YouTube videos than you'd think.
Yeah.
It's not like a phone camera with a stack of books anymore.
Yeah, I know it probably doesn't look like it, but we've got a professional camera. We've got a whole lighting thing going on over here.
Lighting fiasco.
Yeah. Microphone. Shiny, pretty microphone. Anyway, so there's two topics today, as you can see on the screen over here. There will usually be three topics, but today we're starting with two because there were two that just sort of dropped in our lap today.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about them for a while because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So the first topic is going to be our geeky topic of the day. As you can see, the second topic will have more to do with politics. But the first topic is geeky, and it is that Marvel Studios, the movie house...
The movie version of Marvel Comics.
Yeah, has abandoned ship with...
There's been a changing of the guard.
Yeah, with Ike Perlmutter, who, if you don't know who Ike Perlmutter is, you're not alone, because he's very secretive. He likes to try and stay as quiet, as hidden away. However, you can see right now there's a picture of him on the screen.
Because we will have that.
Yes, so because this is Ike Perlmutter. He has been the head of Marvel since, I believe, 2005.
About 2005, yeah.
And since 2005, he has been putting his stamp on things at Marvel. He's sort of the anti-Stan Lee.
Pretty much. He's very socially conservative. He's very fiscally conservative.
Yeah.
A lot of people describe him as thrift, which is
thrifty,
polite way of saying incredibly cheap.
Yeah, and we'll get into some of that.
Yeah, but basically...
But the Marvel movies have separated from Ike Perlmutter. They're no longer going to be under his control, which is really exciting.
Yeah, the thing that everyone thought is they thought that people were having a problem with Marvel movies. There's no Black Widow merchandise. They don't merchandise anything. There's no toys for any of the movie figures. Black Widow was getting taken out of her own scenes in the movies for the toy versions with the Captain America Iron Man jet scene.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were pointing the finger at Kevin Feige and Disney because no one really knew that Marvel Studios was actually being run by Ike Perlmutter.
Yeah.
Who Ike Perlmutter within Marvel Comics is renowned for being a staunch micromanager.
Micromanager and very conservative in his way of thinking. He was... when Young Avengers came out in 2005, that was right around the time he came on, and he was not happy about it. And when it ended up being such a big seller for Marvel, he was not happy about that.
Well, the whole thing about Young Avengers was Teddy Atman. Is it Altman? Altman. Okay, Altman, like the, Grey's Anatomy character. Teddy, the Hulkling, was supposed to be a woman. A girl, and that she just turned into the Hulk representative creature, and she and Billy were dating, but it was never really her human form was never seen in the first issue, and it became so popular. The writer just decided to keep him a guy all the time, and make Billy and Teddy a gay couple.
Yeah, which did not go over well with Marvel brass, as you can imagine. But they ended up becoming the biggest internet couple from Marvel. As soon as the first two volumes were done, Perlmutter put the kibosh on that. Completely stamped it out. When Brian Michael Bendis, probably the most influential writer at Marvel right now, wanted to really push to keep Young Avengers going, Perlmutter was responsive with basically absolutely not. That's not going to happen. Yeah. And so Kevin Feige has split from them. So the Marvel movies are no longer connected with the Marvel comics. However, Ike Perlmutter still has control over the TV shows, the comics, the merchandise. Everything that comes out of the comics.
The merchandise for the comics for the comics. He doesn't have access to any of the merchandising, the toy rights from the movies.
Well, he does. I mean, because Iron Man is in the comics. Iron Man is in... Captain America is in... But he doesn't have control over the merchandising of the specific movie characters.
That's what I meant,
like Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man.
Yeah, using the likeness of Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man toy, Perlmutter can't do that anymore. That's up to Disney now.
Yeah.
Only Disney can use Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. Only Disney can use Steve Rogers Captain America, which I think is actually going to be
You mean Chris Evans Captain America?
Chris Evans. Which I think is actually going to harken in a huge merchandising boom from Disney.
I'm hoping, because there hasn't been a lot of merchandising
for anything.
Movies. But anyway, we're completely getting off topic already. The split has happened between Kevin Feige and Ike Perlmutter. Ike Perlmutter has been Kevin Feige's, basically his manager for the last, well, since he came on in, I believe, 2006 or 2007. It was before they even had the Disney deal. This was when they were Paramount with the original Iron Man movie. And Kevin Feige was already, working on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And ever since then, Ike Perlmutter has been putting the stop to a lot of things. He put a stop, apparently, to a Black Widow movie.
Joss Whedon apparently had a script written.
Yeah.
They say, had a script written for a Black Widow movie, and Ike Perlmutter, from the top, said, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So he put the kibosh on a Black Widow movie. He apparently has been the sort of driving force between the creative differences that we keep hearing about with directors is coming from him and not Kevin Feige, apparently.
The woman who directed Selma, she left because of creative differences.
Adria DuVernay, yeah.
Adria DuVernay, right. And everyone thought it was Feige who was being over-controlling. But turns out that it's likely Perlmutter. Likely.
Yeah.
Likely,
yeah. I mean, we don't know for sure. It's just sort of come out today.
And, the day after it happens, James Cameron goes into Disney.
Well, that's a rumor. That's only a rumor.
This is
that's
after
not...
his he released his Fantastic Four pitch,
which was also a rumor. This is all rumors. This is conjecture. This is not 100% fact. None of this has been confirmed, and none of it will be confirmed unless things are signed, deals are signed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now Kevin Feige has a little bit more autonomy because he's answering to the Disney execs instead of to Ike Perlmutter. The Disney execs, of course, who are easily a bit more, I'd say, liberal-leaning in their...
They're a bit more distant.
I don't even think they're more distant. I don't think that's the right word. I would say that they're probably just easier to work with. Because, like you said, Ike Perlmutter is a big micromanager.
That's what I meant by distant. Like, they're distant from the project. Like, they kind of put more trust, and they don't want to, get into it all that much.
Yeah.
As long as the money keeps coming.
Yeah, and they may see things that Ike Perlmutter has been doing as okay, this isn't bringing in the money, or there is a lot of people who want a Black Widow movie, or
Black Widow toys.
More Black Widow toys. I mean, and the fact that there is no Barbie of Black Widow, of Scarlet Witch, of
Wasp,
the Wasp.
Fashion designer.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, are we allowed to swear on YouTube?
No. I'll bleep that out. But yeah, they've been missing a huge opportunity with marketing, because they could, release Barbies of the Scarlet Witch, and then there's a new Scarlet Witch comic book coming out this fall. Put an issue of that in there with the Barbie, and then, the little girl gets the Barbie of this cool-looking character, and then there's a comic book she can read, and then maybe she will be like, oh, I really like this, and then start reading comic books.
That's how you introduce people, is especially how you bring people into Avengers. It works both ways.
Yeah.
The Avengers has always been kind of the place where you go to read. If you don't know Marvel, start with the Avengers or the X-Men. I recommend the Avengers over the X-Men, because the X-Men can get a little bit convoluted, although that's not really the case lately.
And the X-Men and the Avengers can't.
Lately, the Avengers have been getting really convoluted, so I don't really recommend reading anything.
I haven't been reading any Marvel books lately because it's
not
been so
until
weird.
Secret War is done.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's how it works. The Avengers is the issue you go to read about this collaboration of superheroes, and if you like Captain America, you can read Captain America comics.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is happening, which is a big shakeup, and apparently things are going to go one of two ways. Either Kevin Feige is going to have a whole lot more autonomy and get to do what he's wanted to do, and things may not go so great, or it might be okay, the things that Kevin Feige has wanted, that Ike Perlmutter has been saying, no, saying no to, may be great ideas that are just going to like explode the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Like a Black Widow, like Cold War spy thriller. Like
that would be like amazing. A James Bond-esque movie, only it's Black Widow. That would be amazing. But we're going to be talking about this a lot more in the coming days as things come out about it.
Because this happened last night. Like, this was released last night.
Yeah.
So.
And, of course, this is being released Wednesday morning.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, my God, we're in the future.
Wait. So this is being released Wednesday morning, so we're recording this on Tuesday night. So we may come back to the Perlmutter business at the end of the show, but I would like to move on to our next topic, which is... political topic.
More political
and
topic.
If you've been listening to the podcast, we had something called quotable quotes for a little while, which we would basically say something as someone in the United States, usually a Republican,
something we hope is going to go down in history
as being a total nonsensical statement,
something that you can bring up at a dinner party. And
we were originally going to do Scott Walker saying that they need to build a wall across the border of Canada, which is very, they can't rebuild the roads, but they can build a wall across the largest undefended border in the world. That's fine. They can do that.
I support that idea as long as it looks like the wall from Game of Thrones. Like, it has to be made...
Giant ice wall.
It has to be like 50 feet high, made out of ice.
Yeah, if they do that, I'm on board with that. But this quote is actually from Ted Cruz, who, and we're going to have it up on the screen for you to read along, said,
read along.
in regards to, Ted Cruz, in regards to the LGBT community.
Specifically the LGBT community.
Yeah, said this.
This is after an interview with Ellen Page.
They are out to exterminate us. They are out and they are on the hunt for God-fearing, conservative Christians whose only idea of a family entails a man and a woman and nothing else. They are like a beast who's had a taste of blood, Christian blood, and is now out for the kill. You are all in danger. I am in danger. Christians throughout America are in danger. It started with the Supreme Court ruling, and the way things are going, I'm afraid to think how it'll end. What scares me the most is that there are people out there who don't seem to notice the persecution that's going on under their very noses. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to see things, to not see things for what they are? You have gays running rampant on one hand and Christians being lynched on the other. It's as tough. It's as though we're back in the dark Middle Ages. But there is a solution, or rather, there could be. I believe the southern states of America should come together in a joint effort to protect their religious freedom, what little of it that we have left. We are running out of time. We should build a nuclear bomb and use it to defend our right to believe in God as our one true Father.
Where do you start with that? Like,
you don't.
Where can you possibly start with
this
that?
This man is running for president. He is running for president, and he's not one of the people who are polling at zero, which some of them are.
Let's start with the obvious thing. He wants to build a nuclear bomb outside the jurisdiction of the federal government. Specifically to defend the southern states, specifically the southern states, to defend the southern states from the government.
Specifically the southern states. You know, screw any other state that may agree with him.
That's the thing that sticks out the most, is that this is treason. This is treason.
This is like saying we need to have another civil war, only it needs to be like a cold civil war with nuclear bombs.
Listening to it again, he's calling for a secession. Like, listen to it. The southern states need to band together.
Need to band together with a nuclear bomb.
Privately, he's talking about private military, constructing private military science. Non-federal, non-regulated, constructing a nuclear weapon that they can use as a nuclear deterrent from the government.
Yeah.
Against their own government. And this is a man who is running for the president of that government that he wants to be in control of.
Well, that's the Republican thing. They want to control the government, but at the same time they want to squash the government. And so they want to get control of it to squash it until they actually get in power.
They want to control it if they don't get in power. Unless they don't get in power, then they want to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's basically how
they only want the government if they can be in control.
Yeah, and otherwise government is evil if they're not in control.
The second thing...
Because that was basically the Bush doctrine. Government's okay as long as it's something I wanted to do.
Pretty much. And the second thing that's really significant about this is the Christian crybaby. Like, Christians are persecuted. That's the big message for this. Christians are being persecuted. And
lynched.
Specifically lynched. Like,
black people are being shot by cops for being black, and Christians are being lynched.
Well, no, lynching was a very common form of torture for black slaves in, you know, the pre-1800s. Specifically for slaves who ran away, slaves who had disobeyed masters, depending on how asshole-less the master was.
And this isn't, like,
black
Nero's Rome. This isn't Nero's Rome. No one is persecuting Christians. That crazy bitch in Georgia, or Arkansas, I can't remember where, who's like, I'm not giving you a marriage certificate because you're gay. She's saying that she's being persecuted by being forced to give out marriage. That's your job, bitch.
That's
do your job. You are being paid to do that.
That is in the job description. If you do not like what the job description entails, leave that job and find a job that will respect your religious.
Go work for Fox News. I'm sure they will hire her now. They would love to have her. Her and her thousands of Twitter. She's not on Twitter. She probably doesn't even know what Twitter is. Thousands of internet supporters and the people who line up in front of that place every day.
Just the disrespect of using the word lynching to describe
Christians.
To talk about white people. How white people are being persecuted. White people are being lynched. Like,
yeah, that's white.
How is that
Christians.
not completely insensitive to the slavery in the States? Like, the horrible things that were done to slaves in the States.
And really, I mean,
anywhere, really.
When you look at it and you're like, Christians are being persecuted and lynched? You want to basically secede again, because that worked so well the first time when the South seceded, with a nuclear bomb as your, like, deterrent to get rid of gay marriage.
And that's really out of, like, economic recession. Well, they're
what
not
are
in a
they going to
recession
do?
anymore.
The southern states benefit more from the government than any other state. The southern states take more for every dollar they pay in taxes than any other state. The states that pay the less are the really, really left, like California, the left-leaning ones. The ones who
have infrastructure that they can actually depend upon.
Yeah. I mean,
like, Colorado's got weed. California's got Hollywood.
New York is New York.
New York is, well, New York.
But, like, it's always the southern states. They're the ones who take the most for every dollar that they put in.
Because God forbid any oil that comes out of the southern states go into the government whatsoever.
But well, there's really only oil in Texas.
Itchy nose.
But it's like, what are you going to do when, you know, you blockade these southern states with a nuclear bomb, and then when they can't use the American dollar anymore, what are you going to do, Ted Cruz?
It's getting to the point, like, if you have a nuclear bomb, where does it end? Where does the demands end when it's gay marriage? Because what else do the Republicans hate? They hate illegal immigration, so they're going to, like, say no to American immigration laws.
Well, they hate illegal and even some legal immigration. They basically hate any immigration that's not white people from Europe, because they've even bitched about Canada a bit.
Well, wall in Canada.
They hate immigration, they hate taxes, they hate gay people, they hate black people, they hate Hollywood, they hate the Hollywood elite, the left-wing elite. They hate all these things. So are the southern states going to be like, we will bomb you if you, like, are they going to pull a North Korea and be like, if you release this movie, we will bomb you? Because this movie says that God doesn't exist or something like that?
Another thing, like, he's saying, like, the direct quote, gays are running rampant and Christians are being lynched. Let's still focus on the lynch thing. It's like the Dark Middle Ages. Now, aside from the fact that the Dark Ages and the Middle Ages, depending on the scholar, are
Middle Ages.
Different things. But
not the bright Middle Ages. Not the good Middle Ages.
Apparently, in the Middle Ages...
during the Dark Middle
Apparently,
Ages,
in the Dark Ages, gays were running rampant and Christians were being persecuted. Apparently.
Oh, absolutely. The Dark Ages weren't dark because Christianity had taken over the, like, education system.
Well, Christianity destroyed education. The Romans were... at the collapse of the Roman Empire, they were roughly at the late 1600s, early 1700s. The only thing they didn't really have was gunpowder, and that's because it was invented in China, and China didn't really run along the same revolutionary lines as Europe did.
And then the Dark Ages happened, and now we don't have flying cars, and it's their fault.
Well, like, and especially in the Dark Ages, because the witch hunts of the Dark Ages were basically homosexual hunts. They were women who didn't want to submit to the church hunts.
It was basically anyone who wasn't a white straight man would be claimed to be a witch.
As a gay person, this is the equivalent of an oppressed party saying that an oppressed party was responsible for a tragedy. Like, it's not nearly as bad, but it is similar to, like, saying the Germans were the persecuted party in the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of saying that. Because, like, oh no, poor Hitler in the Holocaust. He tried so hard. Those damn Jews.
Yeah. Like, oh, he tried so hard to make Germany good. And, oh, it was just the Jews.
Jews were running rampant and, you know,
running
he was...
rampant and persecuting the Aryans.
Persecuting the Third Reich.
Like... Oh my God!
Because the Third Reich had no power at all, no power.
No,
the Third Reich was powerless against the Jews.
Absolutely powerless. I mean, it was the rabbis, the complete control over everything.
Like, it's not really.
Luckily, no one's actually saying that.
I don't think this is the same equivalent, but this is what it sounds like. This it's that feeling that you get when I said, like, oh, those poor persecuted Germans during the Third Reich. Like, that's the feeling that this should inspire when Ted Cruz says something like this. Because the Dark Ages really were a point of persecution for gay people, for women.
Yeah, it was for...
And people who weren't white. Everyone who Ted Cruz is trying to appeal to. But this is exactly turning the issue around and saying the persecuting party is actually the victim.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are how many gay senators in the States, there are how many gay lawmakers, there are how many black lawmakers, there are how many women lawmakers, but how many white male Christians
right now,
are lawmakers?
The Republican Party has one woman running for president, which the Democrats only have one too, but the Republicans have a whole lot more running.
Comparatively, you know.
A whole lot more people
smaller
running.
Smaller per capita.
Well, yeah, they have like 16 people running, 16 or 17. Carly Fiorina is the woman running for president under the Republican ticket. And look, she wasn't allowed in the primetime debate, Fox's Republican debate. She's not going to be allowed in the primetime debate because of the way CNN is doing it, even though she's polling ahead of...
CNNs are going by...
She's polling ahead of Ted Cruz, and he's going to be on that stage, and she's not. Which, I'm not a fan of Carly Fiorina. I think she's really backward, and I don't like her politics at all. But put her on the stage, let her talk. She's polling up there. Let her talk.
The CNN is going with the craziest of the crazy Republicans to get the best ratings, because they've discovered that with Trump, crazy gets ratings.
And poll numbers. Speaking of Trump, the KKK endorsed Trump. Or the former Grand Wizard of the KKK. Not the current one. I think the current one's waiting for Donald Trump to just say one thing. Just say one thing bad about black people, please, Trump. Say just one thing, and then I'll endorse you.
Ted Cruz has said a lot of bad stuff against Mexicans, but Mexicans are, like, really hardcore Catholic, because, you know, Latin Americans hardcore Catholic.
Part Latino.
He's part Latino and was born in Canada.
But somehow, everyone's just ignored the fact that he's born in Canada. Obama was born in Hawaii, but he was...
No, Kenya. He was born in Kenya.
He was born in Hawaii.
He was born in Kenya. He was born in Kenya and he's secretly a Muslim.
Yeah. He's secretly a Muslim Kenyan. And gay. He was gay for a while, too. So it's just,
also a pot smoker. He's a huge druggie.
Well, that he was. So, you know, call a spade a spade. But yeah, so that's how I think we should end it there. So thank you. This has been Geek Theory. Thank you for watching.
Geek Theory.
I really hope you guys subscribe, like and subscribe. We're usually going to be covering more geeky topics than this. And
but it's just like, you know,
and
Ted Cruz said this, we had to do it. Like, we had to do it.
And hopefully we'll have a better train of thought going for most of the time coming up. Because this just kind of turned into an insane rant.
I don't know. I thought it was fun. I had fun. I had fun.
But thank you so much for watching. I hope you like and subscribe.
I hope you come back.
The subscribe buttons are down there.
And comment. Give us feedback. Talk to us. Join the conversation.
Comment. Join the conversation. Tell us if you think we're crazy. Tell us if you agree.
Give us hate mail.
We would love to hear from you. So thank you so much for watching. My name is James.
I'm Nick.
And we will be back probably Friday. So have a great couple of days.